What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we will be talking about Pokemon that I think we could see return in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So, because we're going to be trying to figure out every single Pokemon that's going to be in these games, the base game, not the DLC, this is going to be a really long video, so it will be in two parts. This will be part 1 of 2 of these videos. So, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that you're updated on when part 2 drops. And without further ado, let's just jump in. Now, in the base game of Sword and Shield, there were 435 Pokemon. When the games first came out, there were only 400, but there were some more that were in the coding of the game. They just weren't available until home, like the Alolan starters, or Blastoise, Venusaur, and a couple of legendaries and mythicals. So that meant that there were 355 total returning Pokemon in Sword and Shield. So we're going to try to guess around that number. Now, for the record, I hope that Scarlet and Violet have a little bit more than that in the base game because, well, I feel like as there are more Pokemon, there should be more Pokemon available in the games. Not calling for the National Dex, just, you know, that the ratio would kind of grow together and not be one-sided in growth. Now, with that said, let's dive into the Pokemon that are already confirmed to be in the game. So there's already 46 Pokemon confirmed to be in the game. These Pokemon are the Pikachu line, the Meowth line, the Psyduck line, the Happiny line, the Magnemite line, the Hoppip line, the Larvitar line, the Seviper line, well, which is just Seviper, the Swablu line, the Wingull line, the Riolu line, the Starly line, the Combee line, the Drifloon line, the Petalil line, the Zorua line, the Clauncher line, the Flabebe line, the Bounsweet line, and Stonejourner. Now, because of the Pokemon that are available in the game, we can kind of guess some other Pokemon that will probably be in there. For example, Seviper, we know is in Scarlet and Violet. So we can pretty easily guess that Zangoose will also be available. Because Cantonian Meowth was seen in the game, which means Cantonian Persian will be in the game, I assume that Berserker will also be available. In the past, when Pokemon have gotten a regional evolution, there has been the original or the other evolution still available in the decks of that game. So, like, in Sword and Shield, Meowth evolved into Berserker, but Persian was still in the deck. So was Cofagrigus, even though Yamask evolved into Renurigus. Then in Legends Arceus, Weavile was still in the decks, even though Sneasel evolved into Sneasler. Some other ones I think we can guess are, because we see Clauncher and Clawitzer, Skrelp and Dragalge, because they've always been Virgin exclusives, and they've always been paired that way. Now, you know, they could always change that. We saw Rufflet and Braviary in Legends Arceus, but no sign of Volibile and Mandibuzz, which they had always been Virgin exclusives up until that point. So, you know, just because one's in the decks doesn't mean the other will be, but this is all just speculation, so I'm going to say Skrelp and Dragalge, and then I'm also going to say Ice Cube because we do see Stonejourner in these games. Now, because of the trailer, there are some certain shots that make us think that this Pokemon could be in the game, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will be, but I'm going to go ahead and say that they will be. So we see in the player character's room that there is a book with a Choodle on it. So because of that, I'm putting the Choodle and the Dreadnought line in. And we also see a statue of a Dratini. So I'm going to go ahead and put Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite in. So for those keeping track, so far we are at 56 Pokemon in these games. Now, I think it's also pretty easy to guess that the new Hisui Pokemon will be in these games. Legends Arceus gave us some new Pokemon as well as new regional variants for some older Pokemon, and I think that they're going to want you to be able to use these in competitive because they weren't patched into Sword and Shield. There's no competitive or even player versus player in Legends Arceus, so I think they're going to want to have those in here. We've already seen some evidence of this with Hisui and Zoroark being confirmed to be transferable into the game, as well as we can see Petalil in the trailer, which makes me assume that they did that because they want us to be able to use Hisui and Lilligant in these games as well. So because of that, I think that we could see the Teddiursa line, the Stantler line, the Sneasel line, which would be Sneasel and Sneasler in the context of Legends, the Scyther line, the Quillfish line, the Basculin line, the Oshawott line, Cyndaquil line, and Rowlet line, the Bergmite line, the Growlithe line, the Voltorb line, the Goomy line, the Rufflet line, Enamorus, and Dialga and Palkia. While Dialga and Palkia did not get regional variants, they of course did get their origin forms, so I think that this would still apply to them. Now, because of the Pokemon that are in the Hisui Dex as new Pokemon, I think we can infer some others. So, because Sneasel and Sneasler will be in, I think we can assume Weavile will be in. Honestly, because Braviary will be in these games, I think we can assume that Volibile and Mandibuzz will actually be here. Even though they weren't in Legends Arceus, I think they would bring them back for this game, since you would probably just find regular Braviary in the wild. They might would go back to making it version exclusive with Mandibuzz. Plus, that desert area we saw with the Stonejourner, perfect place to find wild Mandibuzz. And there's so many different vulture species in the Iberian Peninsula, so it just works in my opinion. Now, I'm going to go out on a wild limb here and assume because Oshawott, Cyndaquil, and Rowlet will be in, by us inferring that they'll be in since they got new forms, or their evolutions did, I think we can also assume that the Tepig line, the Snivy line, the Chikorita line, the Totodile line, the Popplio line, and the Litten line will also be in. Now, because there's Enamorus in, I think we can also assume that Landorus, Tornadus, and Thundurus are in, especially when you factor in the fact that they were all given exclusive new signature moves. Then, because the Dialga and Palkia with the origin forms are in, I think that Giratina will be in, as well as Arceus, because they are all their little quartet. So I think that just makes sense, as well as Arceus being the staple of Legends Arceus. And, you know, obviously they're going to want to have him, especially with his new Legends plate, and assuming that the way his plates work in Legends Arceus will carry over into these games, they're going to want players to be able to play around with that. Now then, I'm also going to go out on a limb and assume that all the Pokemon that were not available in any of the Generation 8 games, so across Sword and Shield, Legends Arceus, and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, the Pokemon that weren't available in any of those games, I think that we will see them here, especially because a lot of them, I think, really fit the region well, to be honest. Like, for example, I think the Sewaddle line and the Deerling line really fit the region, as well as a bunch of others. But let's dive into what those ones are. That is the Patrat line, the Sewaddle line, the Tynamo line, the Deerling line, the Ducklet line, the Blitzel line, Alomomola, the Elemental Monkeys, Meloetta, Chespin line, Fennekin line, Froakie line, the Skiddo line, the Scatterbug line, the Litleo line, Furfrou, Hoopa, the Pikipek line, Yungoos line, Crabrawler line, Oricorio, Minior, Komala, and Bruxish. So this brings our deck size to around 172. When I say deck size, I do want to note, I don't mean the starters included in there. So like I said, Froakie, Oshawott, all them, I think they'll just be in the coding of the game, but probably not be available until Home's End or maybe in the post game, but they wouldn't be an actual part of the Scarlet and Violet decks. But that brings us to 172 in total, and we'll see what else we get in the second part. So once again, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications because you don't want to miss that second part. It will be our next video up, and we will be diving into the rest of the Pokemon we think will be returning in these games. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to comment down below what Pokemon you absolutely hope are in Scarlet and Violet. If you could only pick one to be in the game or one line to be in the game, let me know who your pick would be. Until next time, I will see all of you later.